Welcome back to MMA Oddsbreaker. This is Before the Bell. UFC 201, Saturday, July 30th, coming up. Lawler versus Woodley, a fight that all of us have been anticipating for a long time. I've talked to a couple different people flip-flopping which way this fight is going to go, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, the first one we got to talk about, there was a co-main event. And forgive me, Carolina, I can't pronounce your last name, Kalikas. She's from Poland, and Rose Namajunas, obviously, everyone knows Thug Rose, is the co-main event. Is this fight worthy of a co-main event when you have Brown and Ellenberger on just before that?
You could definitely argue that, but yeah, I do think so. I mean, the ladies deserve the spotlight here. I mean, they've been headlining events recently. You know, we've had some women headlining, and they've delivered most of the time. So I think they deserve a shot because both of these ladies are definitely two of the girls at 115 pounds that are climbing up that ladder, and with a couple more wins, they could be in that title shot picture. So yeah, I'm kind of glad to see them get that kind of exposure on the card because it will be a fantastic fight as well because you got two ladies that will throw down. I mean, you know it's going to be exciting because they're very active on the feet. They have ground games to go along with it. They're just complete mixed martial artists. That's why they even got to this point where they're in a title mix, honestly. So it should be a great fight.
And, of course, the champ is Joanna Jędrzejczyk, also Polish. This becomes an interesting question. This last weekend, obviously, we had a fight night. Holly Holm, and forgive me, I forget the girl's name.
Shevchenko.
But they kept saying she's already beat Jędrzejczyk 3 times. She's already beat her 3 times. Obviously, it was in kickboxing, and obviously it was at 115 pounds.
Right.
135 is a totally different weight class. I get that. Was there anything that these girls are looking at for the future going, oh, wow, that style is what beats Joanna. That's what I have to do to change it? And do either one of these two, Rose or Carolina, have that style that can mimic the style that's able to beat Joanna?
Man, Joanna right now is just, on a different level because she has the takedown defense and she's got the striking. And yeah, of course, I mean, she's lost to Shevchenko before, but like you said, Shevchenko is physically bigger than her as well. Mm-hmm. So you got to give her some leeway there. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think Rose would probably be a tougher matchup, only because she does have more of a ground game, more of an active ground game, like more of an aggressive style to her game. And then on the feet, actually, she can do some damage as well. So I think that Rose probably matches up a little bit more difficult for Joanna, but still, I mean, it's going to be a tough task because Joanna she's really smooth with her striking, as you know. I mean, she has accuracy, she has power, she has conditioning that's endless. I mean, she could seriously, after that 5-round fight she had against Gadela, she could have went another 5. I mean, she looked like she could have went another 5. And people are not like that. I mean, it's even Rose in the past have struggled a little bit with her cardio. Mm-hmm. So she has an advantage. It's going to be tough to beat her. But, yeah, I think they could at least be competitive with her. And, again, I think Rose, as far as finishing ability, might be more of a threat. So they're right there. It's going to be hard to dethrone Joanna, though, man.
Okay, so that becomes the question of how excited are we getting for this fight then? Because it's like, well, we don't think either one can really beat Joanna, but Rose has got the better shot, and Rose, of course, being ranked 3rd right now, and Carolina being ranked 5th. That does go towards, hey, what's going to happen next, and what happens with the hierarchy of who's going to be next in line for a fight. But still, it's like it's tough to get jumped up when Joanna is that much better than everybody else in the weight class. It was like that way when GSP was that much better at welterweight, and when John Jones was that much better than everybody else, and Anderson Silva at middleweight. When they were that much better, it was like you can't really get hyped up for the next in line fight because neither one really have a shot until, of course, Chris Ryman comes in and dethrones Anderson Silva, and that obviously changes everybody's mentality. So, of course, Rose could come in, and I'm picking Rose, obviously, you guys haven't figured it out yet, to win the fight. Still don't know the line yet because, Nick, you haven't told us. But I kind of lean towards Rose to be the better competitor if she gets jumped up to Joanna, but I still don't think she has a skill and the speed, and the cardio is the biggest problem for Rose at this point to be able to beat Joanna. But is it enough to beat Carolina?
I do think it is, and she is a decent little favorite here. I mean, she's coming in right now, checking over at 5dimes.eu. Rose is actually minus 250. The comeback on Carolina is actually plus 210. So 2.5 to 1 favorite. It's been staying steady. There has been two-way action on this fight as well. So Rose being about a 2.5 to 1 favorite seems right. Now, I think Carolina will be competitive, especially if it stays standing, because she's got that kind of game that she just consistently attacks. She has pretty good cardio as well. She's got decent takedown defense, decent wrestling. So it is going to be a fight. It's not going to be an easy matchup for Rose, but I do think that Rose is just a little bit more dangerous. I mean, she's been getting better. Outside of that Esparza fight, I mean, Rose has looked really phenomenal. I mean, and you could tell she's getting better and better. And even since that fight, she's got more confidence. She's going out there fighting decent competition. She's finishing decent competition. And she looks like she's a true contender. And she is probably one of the people that would be one of the closest, to pulling off the upset over Joanna. I guess you could say that.
So it really comes into a situation where I think the Carlos Esparza fight with Rose, most fighters, it would have broke. And something in her, it broke something inside of her, but she was able to fix it. When now she's better. Like most people, like that kind of fight, you're like, oh, that's it. Like I've kind of hit my mental peak, whatever. She got better. She got way better. Of course, changing camps helped. Moving from Rubus's out to Grudge Training Center and now whatever, the names have changed up there in the Denver area. Carolina, though, is a tough competitor. I think this is going to be really, really close if Rose keeps it on the feet. She's got to get in there somehow and get her down to the ground and be able to maintain a little bit of control and frustrate Carolina on the ground to make her start making some mistakes when she gets back up to her feet.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, like I said, I think Rose can even do a little bit more damage as far as on the feet goes. She has maybe a little bit more power, or has got more of that killer instinct. But Carolina's going to be steady coming forward. She's got a little bit of pop on her punches. She's really riding high right now in her confidence too. I mean, she's obviously put together a decent little win streak here coming into the UFC. So she is getting better. You could see the improvements. I mean, if you watch her tape before she entered the UFC till now, she is definitely a lot better off. As far as, the improvements. And that's awesome to see. When you see a fighter that's hungry and that is improving fight by fight drastically like some of these ladies are, I mean, that's what you want to see. And those are the ones you got to watch out for because it's hard to really gauge fight by fight how much better they're going to get. I mean, like you said, I think Rose has gotten a lot better too already since that Esparza fight. And I think Carolina keeps on getting better. So, man, I mean, I'm probably expecting them to be even better, and that's why it should be a fun matchup. Fireworks on the feet, but again, I think overall it'll be a competitive fight, but I do slightly lean towards Rose. And it's almost too bad it's a 3-round fight. I mean, in a way, I would like to see this thing kind of go 5 rounds and see how it plays out. Yeah,
I wish they would go back and rechange that and make every main event and every co-main event 5 rounds as opposed to just a main event because it is amazing to watch these two fight, and I want to see what happens when it gets later. Also, too, it helps prep to get them ready for a 5-round fight when it's time for the championship. But to go from a 3-rounder, all of a sudden, next year a title fight, it's a 5-rounder, it's your first one ever. That's a lot of extra pressure added to on top of trying to beat the champ that's already got the belt. So it makes it a little more difficult. Let's move on to Lawler and Woodley. Holy crap. I mean, this fight is going to be nuts. It's literally 50-50. Some people are saying Tyron's going to knock him out. Other people say that Robbie's going to knock him out. Obviously, it favors Robbie if it goes in the championship rounds because we've all seen Tyron start to fade at the end. I got to think Robbie, with his power and his devastating technique, that he's got to be the huge favorite in this one. I'm saying 2.5 to 1 or higher. What is it actually?
It opened around that spot. Now it's as we get closer to fight time, it's coming down a little bit. There has been more action coming in on Woodley. I can understand it. I can respect it as well. But right now, over 5 dimes, it's Lawler minus 210. The comeback on Woodley is plus 175, and Woodley opened at plus 200. So there's been a 25-cent drop on the dog overall, and it is a little bit more based on action. I mean, people are taking Woodley as the underdog here at this spot. Not disrespecting obviously Lawler because they are getting some parlay action back in on Robbie Lawler as well, and there will be and now at the price at 2 to 1, there will be a lot of straight action. So the books are probably going to be fairly even on this fight, which is okay. Because, man, I mean, like you said, both these guys have a chance to win this fight. I mean, Robbie Lawler has been a warrior. His cardio has gotten better through the years. I mean, it's amazing. At 170, since he's gotten back into the UFC, what he's accomplished has been, wow. I mean, it's amazing. Outstanding. Yeah, it really is.
And he is the last fighter from my era that fought when I fought. Before I started fighting, fought all the way through it and still continues to compete even now at this late in his career. It's incredible what he's been doing. And he's not just hanging on. He's not just, calling in, beating some guys, the gatekeeper, the journeyman. He's the champ of the weight class and devastating, like breaking guys, like he broke Roy McDonald. He broke him. He broke him in half. That guy doesn't have anything else to do with Robbie Lawler. If they call him right now and said, look, we're going to give you a bunch of money to fight him again, he'd be like, nope, not doing it. I'm not going back in there again. It is amazing to see what Robbie has done. And Tyron is up for the task. So quick, so fast, so explosive. The only question and the only concern I have is if it gets to the end of the 3rd round, he hasn't knocked him out yet. Now we're looking at Lawler knocking out Woodley as we get into the 4th and 5th round. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah, exactly what's going to probably happen. I mean, early on, Woodley's going to be dangerous, man. He's got that, like you said, athleticism, explosiveness. Obviously, he's got the wrestling background. The wrestling background is going to help, but it's not going to be a huge impact, I think, on this fight because, as we know, Robbie Lawler has decent takedown defense. So I think if it is going to be Woodley maybe getting a takedown early on, because obviously he's got the credentials in wrestling to do so, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold him down because we've seen time and time again Robbie kind of get back up. Even if it is a quick, brief takedown, he gets back up to the feet. And the more success actually Woodley has early on with his wrestling, in a way it's bad for him here, right? And because he's going to get tired. He's going to get, as the fight progresses, I think he's got a better shot at not using his wrestling and using his explosive power and just trying to clip that chin of Lawler and just kind of get in a slugfest with him. I know people are going to think I'm crazy for saying that because that's what Lawler does. I mean, he beats people up on the feet, but he's been rocked. I mean, Lawler has been in these wars recently. If you've seen, you mentioned the Rory McDonald fight. Yeah, he did take a lot out of Rory, but he took some punishment back in that fight as well, right? Hendricks fights, he's taken some punishment. Even the Brown fight. I mean, Robbie Lawler has been in so many wars recently that even though he's got a good chin, he's absorbed some punishment. And eventually, I mean, with the fight years that he has behind him, eventually he's got to give. It's got to go, you would think. Even he's human. So that's what my concern would be for Robbie. I mean, I think he does win this fight. The later the fight goes, his cardio is going to be better. He's going to be the dangerous fighter. He's going to be able to beat Woodley. He might knock him out early, too. I mean, Robbie Lawler, anytime, any second, can land that shot. But for Woodley, you're absolutely right. He's got to win early. I think he's got to win in round 1 or round 2. If it goes into round 3 and beyond, I think Lawler starts really doing some damage and getting him out of there. So he's got a shot, but it has to be early.
Man, this is a great fight. I can't wait for this one to come together. I'm be on pins and needles the whole time the fight goes because each guy can end it at any time. You can get, either one can be losing 4 rounds to none and then get a knockout in the 5th round. I mean, this is how they are, and it's going to be great. And I agree with you. If Tyron tries to make it a wrestling match the first couple of rounds, he's going to get exhausted. It's going to throw him apart. He's going to have to. If you're going to take him down, you got to make sure in a really, really good position. Got him tied up, half guard so he can't spin out of you and get back up. Underhook him and give him small peppering shots and keep him there for half a round. Otherwise, don't even bother because it's so much energy to take him down, and he comes up swinging at you right away. Robbie's super dangerous. And, of course, Robbie's not even going to try to attempt to take Tyron down. He won't even try to shoot. So this is another great fight. That's it for this week here on MMA Oddsbreaker. This is Before the Bell. That's it, Kalikas. I'm Frank Trigg. We'll talk to you next week.